Hello, fifth graders out in RCL land, and welcome to today's episode of The Joe Show.
Hi, Mrs. Sawyer.
Well, hey, Joe, how are you doing?
Not very good.
You're not very good. Why is that, Joe?
I'm feeling a little stressed.
You're stressed?
Affirmative?
Well, can you give me some idea why you are so stressed?
Yes. There was a substitute for you here on the last day, and she was mean to me.
A substitute for me was mean to you? What happened?
She called me Mathy Boy, and she pushed me.
Well, I'm going to have to complain to the principals about that substitute. We're just not going to have anybody mistreating you. So I guess the fact that you're so stressed is the reason that we have the little problem here today. Well, I'm going to have some help from all my friends out in RCL land with the problem that we have. You see, yesterday I baked a pan of brownies. And I'm going to represent that with my rectangle because they were actually made in a rectangle pan like so. But this morning when I got up to look at my pan of brownies, this was all that was left. A half a pan of the brownies was gone.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
I'm afraid Joe ate half of a pan of brownies. Now, my husband and my son and I were planning to share these brownies. So I need some help in figuring out how much each one of us is going to get. Now, I know that I'm dividing it up, but you always need to think, what am I starting with? Am I starting with a whole pan of brownies? No, I'm only starting with 1/2 of a pan. Whatever you're starting with is the first number in your equation. And I'm going to be dividing it among 3 people. Me, my husband, and Matthew. So, can someone out there tell me what I need to do? Okay, you're telling me I just need to cut it evenly into 3 pieces because we want to make sure that our pieces are even. Okay. But now we need to relate this to what portion our piece would be if I still had the whole pan of brownies, which I don't.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
If this is my piece right here, what portion of the whole pan of brownies do I get? Well, this would be 1 piece out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm getting 1/6. Now you should have known, because this is a unit fraction that has a 1 as a numerator, that I can think about these 2 numbers and know that my answer is either going to be 1/6 or it's going to be 6, depending on what I start with. Let's say, for example, that I decided to bake 6 pans of brownies. I'm going to represent my 6 pans of brownies with these rectangles. Those are my representations. Now I am going to divide, each of these 6 pans of brownies into 3 pieces. Don't you just love dividing fractions? I just think of pans of brownies, and that helps me figure it out. So what did I start with? Remember, you always have to think, what am I starting with? I'm starting with 6 pans of brownies, and I'm dividing them into thirds because I've cut each one into 3. Well, I know because this is a unit fraction and I have 6 and 3, my answer is either going to be 18 or it's going to be 1/18. So what I'm trying to find out is how many pieces was I able to make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. and my answer is 18. When we are dealing with a unit fraction, if you start with a unit fraction and you're dividing it, your answer is going to be a fraction. If you start with a whole number but you're dividing it by a unit fraction, your answer is going to be a whole number. Now that doesn't work when you get into fractions that aren't unit fractions, but in 5th grade we're just working with unit fractions. So I hope that Joe doesn't get really stressed out again because he ate a whole half a pan of the brownies I made last night. But thanks to you, you've helped me figure it out that myself and my husband and my son, we're still going to get 1/6 of a brownie to be able to eat. So thank you for helping me solve Joe's problem on today's Joe Show. I'll be talking to the principals about that substitute and try to make sure that they don't get her back because it really made a lot of anxiety for Joe. So let's hear it for today's episode of the Joe Show. Join us next time for the next episode.